What is up, everybody? I am Mumphy. This is my 2020 Toyota Tacoma, and in today's video we're finally going to be getting rid of the chrome on the inside of the truck. I've got the Meso Customs vent rings and the start and 4x4 chrome deletion kit, and I'm going to be replacing the start button with the red Meso button. Stay tuned and let's get into the video.
Perfect.
Alright, we're going to start over here on the passenger side, and we're going to remove the passenger door side vent, so that way we can get to the chrome ring. Now I'm going to use a plastic pry tool to kind of mitigate some of the distortion and damage you might put into the dash. So we'll just slowly work our way around. So mine came off without the interior piece of the AC, but that's easy enough to snap back on when we're ready to put this all back together. We're going to need to take that off anyway. So, passenger side done. Alright, next we'll move to removing the center console cover, and all you'll have to do is you'll just grab it from here. I'm just kidding, you don't need to pull that hard, but you'll just pry it all around and pull it off, and it's just held on by all these red tabs. Alright, next we'll have to remove the dash cluster cover in order to get to the driver's side vent. Now, you'll want to start on the center console side and pry up here. So we'll just kind of pull that, follow it around, and pry that loose. Now, to make things a little bit easier, you may need to drop your steering wheel just so that you have enough clearance to clear the dash, and that should come right out. Alright, now that we've got all of the vent covers pulled out, we're going to be swapping out the start and four-wheel drive chrome rings as well, and swap out the color of the button. So, in order to get this out, you may need to adjust the steering wheel cover, but there is a little plastic piece over here that we will pull straight back, just so we can get to the climate control area. And all you'll need to do is pull down and out. Now there's 3 wires back here that you won't be able to confuse if you remove them, so we'll just unclip those. And we'll remove. Alright, now that we've got all of our pieces out, we're going to start with the vent rings. And I have the Meso Customs vent ring replacement kit. We'll go ahead and just open this up to get it ready. You can get You can get different colors. I went with kind of this off gray, just so that it's not black. There's enough distinction between there without kind of getting too crazy. So on the passenger vent, we're going to just unclip these all around, so that way we can separate the vent with the ring cover, and it's held on by these tiny little clips here and these kind of molded or melted plastic pieces. So we'll need to get these off and then unclip that, and that ring should just come up. Once you get all these popped out, you can see that they're just kind of waxed in there, but you can remove the ring, and we'll set that aside for right now, so we'll get the rest of these done. Alright, now that we've got all the rings off, we'll just set those aside and we'll start working on the Meso rings install. So we'll start with the passenger side vent ring first, and on the back there are numbers. It says 1, 3, 4, and then there's a 2. So we'll start with 1, 3, and 4. We'll just line these up, make sure that they're in the proper tabs, and we'll just kind of push those in. Just making sure that we're all lined up properly, and these do fit snug in there, and that gives a much better look than the chrome rings. I like those a lot. Then we'll just go ahead and pop this back in, making sure that we're lined up properly. On all of these, and just put that all back together. Alright, and then when we're installing it, there's an orange tab on here just to make sure that we're putting it in the right position. So now we'll move on to the center console. Grab our next ring, and here we have the 2, which is this one here, and then 3 and 4 is the driver. Now the only reason why we'll follow the number 2 here is because, as you can see, the tab inserts are off center. The rest of these are at a 12 o'clock position, so we will need to, instead of installing it here, we'll need to adjust it and move it over, so that way all of those line up, and then we'll just press those in and make sure that they are seated correctly. So the rest of these should be at the 12 o'clock position, so these should all just install superbly, nice and tight, and just make sure that they're all seated in. And then for our driver, the last one, just make sure that it's 12 o'clock and push that in. So now we're going to start on the dual climate control, replacing the chrome ring around the start stop and the four-wheel drive. I didn't go with the color match on the temperature gauge. I like how they are right now. I'm just going to darken these up with the color choice that I went with. But I am going to be replacing the start stop button to kind of give it just a little bit extra there. So we'll flip this over, and we're going to be removing these. There's a couple of tabs, so we'll take our flathead screwdriver and we'll just push that in and push that in. So that way the four-wheel drive comes out, and it's these two tabs here that you'll just pinch on both sides to remove that, and then we'll do the same for the push start. Just kind of push this tab in, give a little bit of pressure, push this tab in, so that way it releases the start stop. Now that we have that done, we'll just kind of push this over to the side, and we'll start with the start stop button. We'll take our pry tool and we're just going to get in behind the chrome ring and work our way around until the ring pops off. Alright, now that we have the chrome ring off of our start stop, what we're going to do is we're going to take our start stop button that we got from Meso Customs. We'll just kind of pop that out for now, and we'll take the key that comes with it and we'll just kind of slide it down, turn it, and remove the button. Now that's all that we'll need to remove on this, so we'll make sure that we've got this in the correct positioning. I think like that. So we just want to make sure that we're still in the correct orientation. And we'll drop in the new start stop button and just push that in. Looks great. Now we'll just add our cover, should be the top one here, and we'll just kind of rotate it around until we find the correct positioning for it to snap in. Looks like that's it. So kind of push that on. We got good function, and now we can just reinstall that back in to the dash. Oh, that looks so good. So much better. Next we'll work on the 4x4 button. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated. We'll need a Phillips head screwdriver, and we'll just start by removing this Phillips head and this one, and we'll just remove the back. We'll keep all those screws together. Next we'll remove the board, and way down in the bottom there we can actually remove this, so we'll take that out, and way down in the center there's another Phillips head, so we'll just kind of undo that, and we'll want to make sure that we hold the button because that's what that screw is holding on. The button will drop out, and now we can remove the back housing. Okay, now we'll just kind of work on getting the chrome ring out. There's a couple of tabs that we want to release on the inside, so that way we can push the chrome ring out. And we'll just work on getting those out. Okay, so there are a couple of tabs down in there that are really holding that on, which is good to hold the retention onto the ring. So now that we don't need that, we'll grab the Meso Customs one. We'll line those back up again. We'll push that back in, make sure that it just kind of snaps down. Looking good. And now we'll just kind of reverse our order here. So we'll make sure that we put the button back in the right direction. We had it at two-wheel drive. We'll just hold that in. Make sure that we place this back in properly. Make sure that we're on the two-wheel drive. And then we'll just reinstall our screw, holding the button down. We'll just kind of make sure that we've got good function, which we do, and then we'll place that down, place our board, and then replace the top, tightening down the Phillips head screws. Perfect. And check for function again, and we're good to go. Now we'll reinstall this back into the housing, making sure the two-wheel drive is at the 12 o'clock position, and we'll just snap it back into place, and we should be good to go to reinstall everything. I really do like the look of this. Gets rid of the chrome. I don't mind having the temperature gauges a little different. So now let's get this all back and installed. Alright, next what we're going to do is we're going to snap in all the vents. So make sure that they line up properly. You may have to rotate them around to find where they snap in. So we'll make sure that they're all installed before we put them back in the truck. So here's the center. Just note that the directional caps are free floating and will fall out, so just make sure you keep those all together. So we'll go here onto the back. We'll just kind of line up the proper tabs. And snap those back in. And one more time. Just make sure that we're all good. Snap those back in. Make sure we got proper function. And now we're ready to install them back in the truck. Alright, the first thing that we're going to install is the climate control, start-stop, four-wheel drive. And what we'll do is we'll just re-plug everything back in. You won't be able to get these confused. And these will all just snap right back in. So make sure that this plastic piece is going over the top, so you'll just adjust it. You might need to clear the radio. But once you do all that, you just snap it all back in and replace that cover there. And that's it for the lower climate control. Now let's get the dash in. Alright, now we're going to install the dash first before we get to any of the others. So just make sure you have plenty of clearance. Align the tabs all along the top. Make sure that those are all aligned. and on the sides as well. And then you should just be able to just snap all those back into place. Now we can install the center console. Alright, now we're ready to install the center console now that we have all the vents reinstalled. This should just be a quick lineup of all the tabs. Alright, now that we've got the center dash all installed, and it's nice and seated properly, we've checked for function. Now let's get the passenger one installed. Alright, passenger one's probably going to be the easiest to install back into place. There is a little yellow marking on the top of one of the tabs. That'll go at the 12 o'clock position. So we'll just make sure that that's all lined up. Push it all back in. Check for function. And now we've got a good portion of the interior chrome deleted. I still have the door handles, which is not too big a deal. And then we'll get rid of the chrome ring on the shift knob here in a sec. Also, we'll get the steering wheel chrome gone. Alright, we're going to get rid of the chrome that's around the shift knob. First you'll want to push down to release it, and then we'll unscrew the knob. We'll place the cover over the ring, reinstall the knob, and just push that back up. Set it how you like it, and you should be good. That gets rid of the chrome on the shift knob. Now let's get rid of the chrome on the steering wheel. Now, for the chrome on the steering wheel, there's only one option that I've found so far, and that is AJT Designs. It comes in quick packaging. You get an alcohol pad, a couple of business card, and a decal, and you get the overlay. So what we'll do is we'll do the alcohol swab just to kind of clear off any contaminants, any dirt, debris, stuff that won't allow the adhesive to stick, and we'll just let that dry, which should be fairly quick. And while we're waiting for that, we'll get all of the double-sided tape off the back of the stickers, and once that is all dry, we'll line this up and we'll push down, trying not to honk the horn. I'm trying not to honk the horn. We're just going to push down on that, give that a nice good seal all over, and there we go. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for this install video. Hope you enjoyed it. We've got the majority of the chrome gone out of the truck. I just have the door handles left to do. So those are coming down the line. Those are really hot items, so you may not be able to find those for a while, in black at least. Thanks for joining me on this install. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Perfect.